Tribe, it's Steph, and I'm sharing with you our movement of the month, which is going to be push-ups. So I know push-ups can be very challenging, especially when you just start doing them, but I'm going to show you some options on how we can make it a little bit easier, we can progress through it, and some different variations. So first of all, a push-up is working not only your chest, your shoulders, your back muscles, but also your core. So there's a lot of different muscle activations going on. When we're doing push-ups, we want to actually think about really engaging through the arms, all the way from the hands, up the arms, into the shoulder, and then all the way around the shoulder. So the entire shoulder girdle and the back muscles are engaged as well as the core. So when you do a push-up, you want to think about creating a grip. So I'm just showing you with the dowel. I'm gripping the dowel. So when we do that, we're grip the ground with our hand. And then I'm pretending that I'm breaking the dowel. So I'm getting this kind of external rotation, just slightly, and then I'm pulling the shoulders back. So that when I'm doing those push-ups, I'm actively engaging through the arms, through that full range of motion. All right? So if I'm visualizing or feeling what that feels like with the dowel, I'm gripping, I'm breaking, and then I'm slightly pulling back. So I want to think about maintaining that grip, break, pull activation through the hands when I come down into the top of that push-up position. Now from here, I want to make sure my hands are wide enough, and usually we're bringing our elbows about 45 degrees. All right, if I want to, I could also take my hands wider, but I want to make sure that I'm not winging the elbows out, and I also want to make sure that I'm not diving down into my shoulders. So that's where we get into some shoulder issues or pain in push-ups, or let's say tricep push-ups or chaturangas in yoga, is when our hands aren't wide enough, and then we end up shoulder diving. So always think about taking your hands wide enough so that the elbows can come out slightly and you're in the best position to push back up from this movement as well. Because it's not just going down, but it's also pressing back up. So whether we're on our knees or our toes, we can start push-ups with just moving all the way down to the ground, releasing at the bottom, and then exhale as we engage the core and we push everything back up at once. Sometimes I'll see where we go down and kind of collapse, and then we end up dumping into the low back and then coming back up. Instead of one motion, the whole entire torso and the core moving together as one movement, one unit, versus dumping into the low back and then pushing back up. So noticing the time to do that. So a great way to start push-ups is just like what we do in our yoga classes. It's coming all the way down, nice, slow and controlled. Notice I'm not letting my shoulders go below the elbows. So shoulders as high as the elbows, slow, control down, release at the bottom, engage, exhale, press back up. So if you are just starting push-ups, that's a great place to start. If you have any wrist issues, you could do push-ups on a TRX. So a suspension trainer is great because it helps reduce some of that body weight, and you can control how much weight you're actually putting onto the push-up. Otherwise, you could also do some wall push-ups, walking the hands out, going down and up. So that might be a variation if you are brand new to push-ups and you don't want to go all the way to the ground as well. As we get a little bit more stronger, we're going down halfway and back up, whether it's from the knees or the toes. When you're on the knees, see if you can keep your toes grounded, and that's also going to force you to engage your core. So you can play with the tempo of the push-up. Maybe you go down slow, explode back up. Maybe you go down fast and then go back up slow. So there's a lot of variations you can do there. I like to do the torpedo push-ups, aka chest to torpedo, coming down and up. Sometimes I'll also use a plate that's just an inch or so off the ground, and what that forces you to do is really get to that extra inch and then press back up. You could also do a hold, maybe where you're coming down, you hold, hover, press back up. You could do a walking push-up to one side, and then the other side. So there's a ton of variations, but just really focus on those key things. Where your hands are. So this is your foundation. All right, taking the hands wide enough, especially if you have long arms like me or broader shoulders. You're gonna need your hands wider. So hands wide, keeping the elbows probably about 45 degrees. Maybe you need to take the hands a little bit wider. Don't need to be tucked into the body and don't need to be winging out. So somewhere in between there where you feel strong, pressing back up. Exhaling back up, and make sure to lift from your entire torso, not just from the low back. So everything moves together at once. Use your inhale, use your exhale, and then once you start to feel stronger, you can start to play with those variations. Let us know if you have any questions about how to build up strength for your push-ups.